Hello, today we're in the studio and we're going to be going over the song The Golden Handcuffs. What we'll start with, there's a lot of actual guitar work that kind of comes into this song. So there's actually 4 different guitar parts, which, just it felt like it was necessary for this song. A lot of times I'm using a lot more arrangements in the horns and strings, but for this one I like playing around with a couple different guitar parts. It's kind of like aggressive, kind of funky tune, and for the lyrics we needed something that was kind of the sense of urgency, kind of stylistically. So that's kind of what we were going for. So maybe we'll start by just playing the full song, just the intro, just this kind of big sound, and then we'll kind of break it down to see what the guitars are doing. So yeah, full part here. So big intro. There we go. So this is just kind of a big intro to really kind of get your attention. Because again, it's a song lyrically for kind of the sense of urgency to really listen to what's going on. So that's kind of why I put that in there. So if we can break it down, this first part, I think there's 2 guitars that are playing in this section. One's going to be in the low register of the guitar, and then one's going to be in the higher register guitar. And it's kind of just a way of kind of blending these 2 sounds to get this really wide sound, I feel, out of the instrument. So if you start with maybe guitar 1, the first guitar that's in there, we'll see. So we'll lower guitar. Okay, and then we'll play just the next guitar, the high guitar. All right, and then both of them together. So that's kind of how we put that together. So if we keep going now with this part, and maybe what we'll do is we'll have it with the bass and the drums as well. And so bass and drums and the 2 guitars. So these are 2 different guitar parts that we're kind of using. So one's a very kind of aggressive power chord, heavier kind of sounding, and then one we're just using kind of octaves in the higher register. To again kind of give this, the idea was to try to get it to play, again with the sense of urgency, almost like an SOS pattern, like a Morse code kind of thing. So I tried as much as I could to kind of play that, 3 short, 2 long, 3 short, I think it is, for SOS, to kind of just have kind of subtext or undertones of kind of urgency. So we'll listen to it. This will be just rhythm set, so bass, drums, and the 2 guitars, and just how they all kind of come together. All right, here we go. So again, kind of rock guitar going there with the bass and drums, and then again layering it now. Try as much as I can rhythm deleted state and with that kind of SOS pattern or Morse code kind of thing. Okay, now we'll go into this next part where this guitar part, and this is something, again, I picked up a lot of Stax records, would do a lot of this where it was doubling the bass and the guitar. So they're kind of playing the same thing on both instruments. And it was almost kind of like, in a replacer, maybe like sometimes you use something funky like a clavinet or something to kind of give that same idea. And we just kind of went with it, just kind of sunk together with the guitar and bass, right? And it's very much like Steve Cropper at Stax Records would do this a lot with Duck Dunn when they would play a lot of that Otis Redding or Wilson Pickett kind of stuff. They would double a lot of these lines. So it was a really classic kind of way to do it with like with a Fender bass and a Telecaster guitar kind of thing. So so maybe if we can hear just the drums, bass, and guitar. So here. So they're playing the part. So maybe you can take up the drums. Oh, and even there's a second guitar playing rhythm here, so we take up the second guitar. So they're doubling. So it's octaves apart, same thing, just in one lower register, one higher register. And then, so for that whole part, we have them kind of doubling, and I forgot there's another guitar part in there as well too, kind of playing the rhythm guitar, so the chords, to kind of line up with it as well. That's just kind of a short breakdown of the song, you know, and just how the guitars come together, you know, kind of mirroring with the bass and the horns and things like that, and just a little idea of kind of what I think of when I'm putting a song together and how I'm able to draw out, or at least try or attempt to draw out certain types of emotions using different instruments and different arrangements for different things. So yeah, so now if you give the song a listen in its entirety, you know, you'll kind of know a bit of the breakdown and even kind of listen to those individual parts. So again, hope you enjoy.